Want to find a seat? It looks like we have not that many seats today. So let me call this session to order. The time is 6:33. May we have a roll call?
No, you cannot.
City Clerk, can we have a roll call?
We can. Councilmember Castillo?
Here.
Councilmember Dane?
Here.
Councilmember Smith?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Here.
Mayor Welty?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, can we have Jeremy, would you do an invocation?
I would love to do the invocation. Will you please join me and first start off with a moment of silence as we once again honor the men and women who've given the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty, please. Thank you for that. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for once again an amazing night in Canyon Lake, Lord. Thank you that we get to come together and pass what we would like to call a very balanced budget here in Canyon Lake. We're excited to be a part of this city and be able to work for the good people here in Canyon Lake. And we just want to say thank you. And let us be reminded to honor you, Lord, in all that we do and just be thankful for this community. And in your name, amen.
A salute. Travis, could you lead us in the salute?
Yes, please join me. I pledge allegiance to
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Looks like we, okay. City Attorney, can we have a closed session report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. No reportable action was given on item 1. Settlement direction was given on item 2 by consensus. Settlement direction was given on item 3 by consensus. No other reportable action on the remaining items.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to ceremonial matters. Tonight is a good night for me. We're going to have Citizen of the Month, and the Citizen of the Month will be Steve Liebring. I will read this before you stand. Steve Liebring. Steve's service to the community began when he moved to Canyon Lake in 1983, before any of my children were born. A traffic engineer since the age of 19, he's volunteered his expertise to the POA and the city since moving here. Steve is a longtime member of the Facility Planning Committee, playing a pivotal role in shaping the long-term vision of our community. Steve has also been on the Security Advisory Committee, Dredge Committee, Master Survey Plan Committee. He was the chairman of the Lake Lease Advisory Committee. He served on the board of directors of Canyon Lake Condo Association. Steve is involved in numerous clubs in Canyon Lake, including a huge supporter and one of the beginning drivers of the Pickleball Club. In the 1980s, Steve was instrumental in getting the traffic signal installed at Railroad Canyon and Canyon Lake Drive South. Steve has no plans to stop serving the community anytime. So Steve, why don't you kind of come on up? This will be my comments, and then we'll go over to Steve for a little bit. Steve was kind of one of my mentors early on. I think I joined the FPC about 12 years ago. And he took me under, and he beat me up and kicked me around. He made me behave, and he made me document my story. I had a lot of stories to tell, if you can imagine. I could tell all stories about what we should do. And Steve says, you know what, that all sounds great, but you go in, you document your reasons, you document the cost estimates, you document what it's involved. He forced us to be data-driven and not just, hey, you know, I want to wish for something and make it happen. So he took us from the FPC to a wish committee to a responsible committee. And I think, to me, that was one of the most significant changes.
Great.
And would you like to have any comments?
Just happy to be here. I bought my property here actually when I was 19 years old because I didn't want to drive my boat all the way down to the river, and I could just come down here to Canyon Lake to go skiing. So paid $8,000 for that lot and got in here cheap. So I've been here for over 50 some years. And one way or the other, but yeah, I plan on staying here till the end of whenever that time is, and I'm not going to stop volunteering.
Tireless service. I mean, He didn't go to a committee once a month for 3 hours, and that was his service. I've been out on boats with him, I've been in cars with him, I've driven the whole community, almost every street with him. I mean, amazing, and I drive up into Canyon Lake, and I see him sitting in his car at the traffic signal, tracking the traffic, timing the traffic as it goes through. He has just been a relentless driver of improvements for here. So thank you, Steve. In recognition of your compassion, dedication, outstanding service to Canyon Lake, thank you for all you do. And I'd like Diane to come up. We don't have to talk, Diane. And the council come over and let's get some pictures. We always forget the wives, like they aren't abandoned for hours and hours and hours. And Diane's one of those that has let her husband do incredible things. So slide in next to your husband and we'll slide. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. And just coincidentally, I think he was the member of the month for the POA. They kind of grabbed the thunder, and it's just kind of a kismet thing, or that it happened, and he deserves both awards, so we're very happy. Okay, moving on. Presentation. I'm going to hand the mic to Councilman Dane.
I'm going to bring up, who's going to be speaking for? Sonia Kent from Canyon Lake Junior Women's Club. Junior Women's Club is going to be presenting their scholarship award winners for 2024.
Thank you. Just a couple words before we actually do the presentation. So, distinguished members of the Canyon Lake City Council, esteemed staff, and amazing citizens of Canyon Lake. Tonight we are here to pay tribute and offer our commendation to the diligent students who have united in pursuit of the Canyon Lake Junior Women's Club Scholarship. These scholarships are the direct outcome from the events that this wonderful community has supported our organization with throughout the entire year. This unique scholarship distinguishes itself by not being need-based, but by valuing the merits and the dedication that is exhibited by each of these students and their supportive parents over the years. The selection of our winners was meticulously conducted considering a combination of factors. It included their GPA, which is a minimum of a 3.0, but we had several who achieved over a 4.0. Volunteer hours, where again, our students logged in hundreds of hours of volunteer work, a one-page essay, and a live interview. Tonight, we have among us 7 honorable mentions, along with recipients of the bronze, silver, and top gold scholarships. Because of the incredibly generous support of this great community, we are able to give each and every one of these students tonight a check for their collegiate pursuits. Moreover, we will end by inviting one of our scholars to read their essay, which was randomly selected earlier, around the questions and the themes, how have you been positively affected by living in Canyon Lake? How have you positively affected Canyon Lake? And what have you done to leave your footprint in our great community? We want the community to see the students that they are supporting and how this little bit of paradise community is raising incredible future leaders and highly contributing citizens to future generations. Kindly join us in celebrating those remarkable students as they are unveiled and acknowledged for their commendable achievements. Let's start off with the honorable mentions first, in no particular order. Students, if you're here, when I read your name, please come to the front. Joey Murillo from Temescal Canyon. Yes, please go up if you're here, students. So Joey, if you're here, come up. Taylor Fonseca from Paloma Valley. Zane and Zach Zander are actually not here. They're on a cruise celebrating their graduation. So they're from Temescal Canyon High School. So just go ahead and clap for them, because. Natasha Warner from Linfield Christian. Alyssa Martin from Elsinore High School. And Mackenzie Casara from Temescal Canyon High School. These folks are all wonderful. Again, honorable mention, and each one of them still will also receive a check. Now for our top, so third with our bronze is Emma Cole from Temescal Canyon. Our silver is Michaelin Eaton from Linfield Christian. And our top scholarship winner this evening is Madeline Rainey from Temescal Canyon. Again, parents, please give these students and their parents who helped raise and support these amazing group of achievers a round of applause again. And then the last thing, stay there after they're done, after Michaelin reads her essay, but Michaelin's essay was actually chosen to read tonight, so if you're ready. Do you have your cell phone with you? Okay, perfect. Did you get it? Yes, pull it up. So I'd love for the city council and all of the Canyon Lake citizens that are watching to actually hear how amazing these students write about Canyon Lake.
Hi, guys. Is this okay? Can everyone hear me? Okay. The first memory I have of Canyon Lake is riding around on my Nana's American flag golf cart, waving at the people walking by, and the pure joy that resounded through me when they all waved back. Canyon Lake and its community have had an incomparable effect on my life. The community has shaped my family into a tight mold, and upon leaving for college, I know I have something incredible to call home while I'm away. From living here in my toddler years to moving back as a teenager, living in Canyon Lake is an opportunity that many do not get the pleasure to experience. As a little girl, I have vivid memories of Taco Tuesdays and boat days with my grandparents, of Easter egg hunts and trick-or-treating. These memories are things that Canyon Lake has gifted me with, and it has been such a blessing to be a part of those memories for these younger generations. I have enjoyed volunteering at the Easter egg hunts, Taco Tuesdays, and trunk-or-treat traditions. Oh, sorry, it moved around. Hold on. And trunk-or-treat traditions for these past few years because it reassures me that I am helping to build and strengthen those core memories for myself and others. Another thing that has heavily influenced my life is the values of the other Canyon Lake residents. Whether it is spending time with others at church or even just the way we responded to the global pandemic, Canyon Lake has outlined what it truly means to be a community. It is not just a group of houses around each other, it is authentic relationships and looking out for one another, which is something that no other place I have lived in has been able to show me, and I have lived in 4 different states. Looking back on my childhood and the memories I have here in Canyon Lake, I cannot wait to share those and make new memories for my kids and even for their kids after them. If there was one way I could describe Canyon Lake, it would be circular. It gives memories and allows you to give memories to others. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to share, and I hope you're all having an amazing day.
So that's it. We'd just love to take a picture with City Council and students stay there. Also, can I have our board join us as well?
You're good as long as you guys are. You're good. I have.
Jeremy, there's room over there.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, with me. Thank
Good job, students. We tell you, we're very impressed, and we're happy that you're part of our community. Great job. Okay, next will be Councilmember Smith. Would you like to do the next presentation?
Absolutely. Do we have a Battalion Chief Samuels in the room? Oh, he's hiding in the back. You got to come up here, man. Come on. This is all about you. Check 1. All right, it's working. Chief, I want you right here.
Okay.
Who here has had the opportunity to hang out with Chief or go to the gym with him? Anyone? There's a script. I'm not going to read it. Chief Samuels comes with us from Corona, 30 years with the department. And I'll never forget when we started our fire department, the big conversation that was taking place was who's going to be our battalion chief. And he was thinking about it. He wasn't quite sure. He was back and forth a little bit. But when we got him, if you guys know about our department, without a doubt, he is the nuts and bolts of this fire department. He's the guy who motivates all of our guys in training. He's the one that keeps everyone afloat. His attitude and what he's done for this department from the very beginning to this day has been absolutely incredible. So when I got the opportunity to present a little something on behalf of the city council, for me, it's a big deal. As you know, we started this thing from the beginning. Councilwoman Casey Castillo was here from there, and it's been an amazing ride. And I know that our chief is so proud of you, and thank you for the service, because you didn't have to come back and work, but you did anyways. And now this guy's going to go fishing, and he's going to go hang out with his grandson that's coming, right? He's here. Oh, man. So what do you got, any words to say?
I just want to take the opportunity to thank the council for giving me this opportunity. I really want to thank Chief Latendress. He took a chance. We met on a weekend and
In shorts.
and it just worked. It clicked, and we make a good team. I appreciate you, Chief. I think the city should be grateful to have you, and this place wouldn't be what it is without you. I want to thank the guys. Two of my captains are back here. Captain Gordon's not here, but my guys are awesome. You have a great group of firefighters. So to the guys, you mean everything to me. I appreciate that. To Ruby and the other city employees, and Aaron, we're kind of new, but I'm so grateful for everybody that's here. And lastly, my wife, she's just been a trooper and put up with me for 35 years. And so really for her, that was a big decision for both of us, just to kind of, put this behind me and turn the page. So I really want to thank you guys more than anything, and the chief. So thank you.
Happy retirement.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank all the firefighters in the interim. You've just made this a great place to live. Okay, moving on to community reports. Canyon Lake Property Owners Association.
Excuse me,
Bill?
Mr. Mayor,
Oh.
we're not done with him.
Oh, we're
No,
not
yeah,
done with
that's
No.
why mine was the way it was. So the real stuff comes next.
Oh, thank you for dragging.
Sorry about that. Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, city staff, Jeff Latendress, your fire chief. We didn't want to let him get off that easy.
Good.
Chief Samuels, if you can come back up.
Hazing time.
So I guess a little bit more story, if we could, for a second. Chief Samuels and I started in the fire service about the same time here in Riverside County. We didn't know each other. I was in Indio, he was in Corona, but we know our paths crossed. And we share a lot of the same stories. They're really amazing stories. And I obviously was retained in February 2021 to start the fire department. We started our hiring in like August, and we did recruitment, nationwide recruitment for the position of battalion chief, and I interviewed like 5 people. Went out to dinner with them, and it wasn't working. It just wasn't clicking. We're now into almost November, and we start in 2 months, and so we're getting really desperate. Really desperate. He's at a party with the fire chief from Corona, and he just happens to mention, hey, why don't you give this guy a call? They might be looking for somebody, you know, you might be able to offer something. So as he said, he showed up in his tank top with his guns and tats. And I know we look alike, and it's sometimes confusing on to which chief it is. But we sat down for 2 hours and just talked and told stories and found out our relationships, our beginnings in the fire services, our philosophies. We're really on the same page. We think alike. We were brought up at the same time. We have the same thought systems, morals, beliefs, what our expectations are. And so we were able to put out a consistent message to our guys when we hired them. That November, December time period, he's out there working on all the policies and procedures on operations, on what we're going to do, how we're going to pull hose, how we're going to throw ladders. I'm working on the budget, trying to get uniforms, helmets, so that we could start on January 1st. His office was upstairs in the old library with his own laptop, no uniforms. He wore the same pair of pants for, I think, 2 months because we couldn't get his uniforms in. So over time, though, someone recently told me it's not what you do, it's who you do it with. And we could not have done what we did without doing it with you. So from the bottom of my heart, for these guys, I thank you for doing what we did. So it's a plaque with all of our people in the department with all of our names. We call them one of the originals, and so there were only 12 of us. We're down to about 7. So we'll miss him, and we appreciate all you did for us. Thank you.
What a great moment. Thank you. Bill, I guess we're going to bring you on up now.
It's a tough act to follow. Mayor Welty, council members, staff, citizens, it's been a number of months since I've been here. It's probably been since February, so thank you for allowing me to come back and talk again. A few things, a lot going on in the POA. It's summer again, and so there's always something going on. We are very pleased to announce that we hired a new community security manager. His name is Ken Toller. He comes to us from Saboba, where he was the director of security for their casino. He's got a great experience in that. He's done a number of events. They even had at Saboba, they have their own fireworks display and so forth. So he has great experience in this community. Is a great addition to our team. So we're very happy that he's here. And I know he'll be working closely with the sheriff's office and the city as well. So we'd like to welcome Ken to here. Dale, Mark, and Jeremy, I know you're also members of CLAMS, and we'd like to thank the CLAMS organization and on all the residents who showed up in support of Chef Alex. There was a great fundraiser for him on Sunday, raised over $15,000 in total plus donations and so forth. So it was a very successful event. Really represents what Canyon Lake is all about, right? Is doing things for people in their time of need. And we want to thank everyone for their support in that. So it said summer is here, school is out. We typically see a rise in vandalism. We see a rise in theft. We are asking everyone to be aware. It's already started. We're seeing some events on that. The POA will work. We've done well working together. We want to continue that partnership, working together, and we're going to have the sheriff and the community patrol all work to address incidents as they arise. I want to remind everyone, I should say, about the fact that a rule that we have. It's illegal to sell any product or service on POA common property without prior approval. Okay, and that includes the sale of alcohol, even for tips or other things like that. It's still solicitation, and it does not go beyond the law. And so it's something that's going. We want to remind everyone that that's a requirement. And we'd like to request the assistance of the sheriff, along with our community patrol, in enforcing our rules as well. So 4th of July, coming up a few more weeks here, right? It's a big event. Our city swells by 2 to 3 times overall, right, for 4th of July. And so the board voted, and we are implementing a number of changes in response to the events that happened last year and the feedback that we got from all of our citizens. So I want to kind of enumerate 6 additional things we're doing this year. First of all, we've done this before. On other holidays, we will be restricting service providers that they are not unable to receive a service provider pass on July 4th. Okay, so if you need a service provider, they need to be called in as a guest or otherwise, but service providers will not be allowed to bring people in on that day. We are also requesting, as we always have, additional both community patrol and sheriff's officers to patrol our venues. This year, what's new is we're going to restrict access to the lodge. We're going to restrict it to, after 4 p.m., it'll be pedestrian access only. Okay, so from that point on, if the parking lot is full, it'll be cars or golf carts will be allowed in on a one-in, one-out basis. If anyone is parked illegally, and that happens a lot, sometimes they park up even on the artificial turf or other things like that, they will be cited. Okay. Another thing we're doing is all fines on our this weekend, the whole weekend, July 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th will be doubled. Okay, so we're going to increase that enforcement as well. The beach setup times, we're going to start enforcing that. Okay, we've always had a rule that you can't set up anything on the beach before 6 a.m. However, people have kind of gone out and done that. So if you set up an easy up, an umbrella, beach chairs, blankets, anything, we'll have people there. They will be collected and they'll be taken to Bluebird Hall, where the residents can retrieve them the next day. So we want everyone to know that we're going to do that. We're also going to have EMS walkways on the beaches, so that if there are any events where people need emergency medical services, they'll be able to go through and do that. We'll have additional security at the lodge and in Holiday Harbor, and that's about it. Finally, you may have heard that there's a national election this year, and emotions are already running high, and I would like to reach out and ask this council to join our POA board in providing leadership and encouraging civil discourse through this. It's important that we do not see each other as Republicans or Democrats or independents. We are husbands, we are wives, we are daughters, we are sons, we are all Americans. And so we request that you join us in encouraging everyone to interact, treat each other as neighbors with respect and kindness. Any questions for me?
Well said.
It sounds good, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I can guarantee you that our council will support you in that effort. We've been throwing around the phrase Canyon Lake Strong. I think what we saw this weekend in both of those golf tournaments is just what Canyon Lake is really all about. I think in a roundabout way, people who attended those 2 events, that being the Clams Golf Tournament and the tournament on Sunday, was just how special this community is, and how when you're in need, this community supports, comes out, and plays a huge part in moving forward. I also would like to thank you, kind of on the same subject. There was a bike stolen at the pool. You see this chain going down, and it's getting a little bit crazy, and I suggested that you and I work together on that, and I appreciate very much you chiming in, and we were able to get the information to, I take it's the father, and hopefully he takes the appropriate steps and we can help him out. So thank you very much.
Thank you for that, too.
Yeah.
Good job, Bill. Appreciate you.
Okay. Canyon Lake Chamber of Commerce.
Mr. Grande.
Mr.
John
Mayor,
Gondry.
That's me. Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city staff, and fine citizens of Canyon Lake. As always, I'm honored and thrilled to be up here this evening. And as always, I'll be as brief as I can. First thing, I am very excited to announce our business of the month for June is the Canyon Lake Public Library. We know technically they're not a business, but they are a great member. I don't know, it was about 6 or 7 months ago, Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor Pro Tem Terry and I periodically walk the town center and visit businesses and chat with everyone and see what the concerns are and the successes and the challenges. And we wandered into the library, and I was incredibly embarrassed that I had never stepped foot in the public library before. But I immediately saw the value that it had to our community. And since then, I stop in once in a while and check in on them and say hello. And within the last week, my grandson has just finished kindergarten, and so, it's summer recess. Grandparents, we're spending more time with him, and we're taking him to the pool, and we're taking him on golf cart rides, we're taking him to the country club, we're taking him to all of our amenities. But the thing he loves the most, guess what, is the library. We're actually in the pool, and I mentioned to my wife, Callista, that we had visited the library early that day. He started getting out of the pool and says, "Grandpa, I want to go back to the library right now." He likes it better than the pool. And again, this morning, took him back there again for story reading and arts and crafts. So if you don't have kids or grandkids, I highly recommend spending at least a little bit of time there. It's truly a special place, and it's free. On to other topics. I think about a week and a half or so ago, I had a very productive meeting with Mayor Pro Tem Terry and interim city manager Aaron Brown. I don't think we had anything resolved yet, but we kind of got, getting some traction on getting some ideas together where we continue to work together as two organizations that have similar common goals. I am very proud to say that the Canyon Lake Chamber of Commerce is now a 100% volunteer organization. And why is this a good thing? Well, it's a blessing because we have board members who are incredibly talented and hardworking and dedicated to Chamber, as well as volunteers who come from our member base who all just want to take part and do all the work. It truly is a beautiful thing to see. Last week, we had our monthly business roundtable meeting. I think it was our biggest attendance yet. We had close to 25 people. We had a really good opportunity for the businesses to introduce themselves to everybody, and all around, there was just a really good electric atmosphere in there. Our next business roundtable is actually going to be on July 11th because first Thursday of their month, next month, falls on the 4th. And I don't think we'd get too much attendance on July 4th, especially at 7:30 in the morning or 7:15. Our next after-hours business mixer will be next Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday, the 20th, whenever that is. I think it's Tuesday. And that's going to be at the Sports Stop from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Everybody is welcome. Members can attend for free. Non-members, it's $15 to attend. And I think that's everything. Any questions? All right.
Nailed it. Good job.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay, community reports, public safety updates. Canyon Lake Code Enforcement, Ruby? Good to see you, Ruby.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and staff. The report I'm providing is going to cover the month of May. So we had 5 unpermitted construction violations, 1 vehicle parked overnight in the town center. On BLM, we had 15 unauthorized vehicles, 1 citation was issued, 14 warnings were issued. 1 abandoned vehicle. Under a business license, we had 3 businesses operating without a business license. Notices were issued to them, and they've since been registered. No short-term rentals were found for the month of May. And down to our residential rental registrations, we have a total of 344 registered rental properties, 321 renewed, 20 are pending renewal. 7 new unregistered properties were found. Those were issued notices, and they since then have registered the properties. 5 inspections were conducted, 8 self-certifications were completed. And down to our business license, 3 new commercial business registrations were issued, 2 new home occupations, 14 new out-of-city, and 6 renewals. And then an update on those informational packets for our realtors. Those have been mailed out. To all realtors, I went ahead and got a list from our management analyst, so she provided that. And also flyers were emailed to POA so that they can also have some provided at their counter.
Nice.
And that is all I have.
Good job, Ruby. Thank you.
I have a quick
Appreciate it.
question.
Sure.
How's the BLM doing? I mean, this is summer coming, we're,
So summer usually picks up. So right now what we're dealing with is a lot of dirt bikes and razors out there. So it gets busy.
not too many campers, you've got the campers?
Not yet.
It used to be kind of a campground, so
Yeah.
you've managed to clean that up.
Yes, we have not had campers.
All right. Well, it seems like keep working on it. Sounds much better. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Good job.
Okay, next, Riverside County Sheriff Department. Lieutenant Edwards?
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, staff. No report this month. I will have your quarterly report for you next month. As we're planning for the 4th of July, I thought I'd just bring a flyer on reporting and let you know that we will be in full force enforcing all fireworks. Just let you know the range from county ordinance infraction all the way up to felonies. So make sure that you're calling in. If you see any fireworks, let us know. We do have some plans for some undercover operatives and additional staff. So it will be enforced seriously this year. But any questions for me?
Again, summer, our parks, make sure we hold a tight line on our parks, because once those kids get a wind that they can get away with something,
Absolutely.
that becomes their adventure for the summer. We don't want it to start.
Right.
Thank you.
For sure.
We have this flyer, right? The city does?
The city does, yeah. And you can post it on the website if you want.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Thank you.
Okay, City of Canyon Lake Fire Department, Chief Latendresse.
Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, Jeff Latendresse, your Fire Chief. Hopefully I'll do a little better this time. Sorry about that, but we will miss him. On a beginning note, if I could, the Lieutenant talked about 4th of July and fireworks. I do want to let everyone know that the city, the fire department, the code enforcement, the sheriff's department, the POA, community patrol, we will be holding our annual meeting prior to the 4th of July and doing all the planning that we typically do before the event. So we're getting everything ready. We're about a month out, so we will be ready for the 4th. During the month of May, the fire department responded to 88 emergency responses. Those emergency responses included 4 fires, 63 medical aids, 9 service calls, 11 good intent calls, for the total of our 81 responses. The 4 fire responses, our first one, Councilmember Smith may remember this, on May 16th, we had a structure fire in the 30,900 block of Long Point. It was a garage fire with a total loss of about $30,000. Ironically, the next door neighbor to this house was an off-duty Big Bear firefighter. Residents seeing the fire went up and knocked on his door. Our council member was returning home from the gym, saw the smoke as he went through the main gate, quickly responded over there, and between the off-duty firefighter from Big Bear and City Council Member Smith, they put the fire out before we got there. So while we're grateful, we do like to do that sometimes, so.
Just trying to save the department money, that's all.
Just saying. May 22nd, we had an outside fire in the 27,000 block of Hammock out in the Meadowbrook area. It was an illegal burning of trash. On May 23rd, we had an outside fire on Gray Fox, the 23,000 block of Gray Fox, which was a trash fire. And then on May 26th, another outside fire in the 22,400 block of Boating Way. And it was a strange fire. It was a planter box that caught on fire. So we never really figured out what happened. It was a sunny day, and we're thinking that there might have been something that was reflective in there and reflected off the glass. This is a more typical pattern for when our calls occur. You can see that in the early morning hours, early afternoon, we're slower. And then on this one, we spiked up around 5 o'clock in the evening, where we ran 12 responses during the month at that time. Again, we use this information to plan our activities. Things that would delay our response, we'll try to do more earlier in the morning. versus later in the afternoon. Where did the calls occur? Well, this is one of, I think, the Councilmember Smith and my favorite slide. 2 calls at the fire station this month, so we have not gone a month this year where we have not had a response at the fire station.
Man.
Where our calls occur, pretty consistent again. They're really scattered throughout. We could see that off of Canyon Lake Drive North was a more busier area this month than some of the other areas like off of Longhorn. This indicates, or this dictates sometimes the response time that we have because of where the responses are. Our response times, our turnout time on average was 1 minute 27 seconds. Sorry, went too far on this one. Was 52 seconds this month. Our travel time on average was 4 minute 59 seconds, and our total response time was 5 minutes and 46 seconds. What we really care about is our 90% fractile time, or what are we doing 90% of the time instead of 50% of the time. Our turnout time is 1 minute 27 seconds. We are meeting our goal of 1 minute 45 seconds. Our travel time is a little bit longer than we would like. It's 7 minutes and 6 seconds. Our goal there is 6 minutes. And then our overall response time is 8 minutes 7 seconds, and we try to shoot for 7 minutes and 45 seconds. So we're still about 25 seconds over where we want to be at the end of the day. During the month of May, the Canyon Lake firefighters responded to 10 incidents outside our jurisdiction. The zip codes for these incidents were in Lake Elsinore. So far this year, we've responded to 51 incidents outside the city, 46 in Lake Elsinore, 3 in Menifee, and 2 in Good Hope. And this is just a location for where the calls were this month. Again, as you compare the zip codes that we get on our reporting system versus where the calls were, most of these calls were in the Meadowbrook area, where only 3 were actually in Lake Elsinore proper. And this is where we've responded to, so far this year, 51 times outside the city and where those incidents were located. Riverside County CAL FIRE came into the city 8 times during the month of May to assist us. So far this year, they've been here a total of 40 incidents. And this is where they responded to so far this year. And again, they're our second unit. So if we get something, if we're out on a previous call, they come in and they back us up. A good example would be the other night with the bicycle accident. Our engine was at another call in the city, and Engine 5 from Good Hope from Quail Valley came in and backed us up. So it works both ways for us. Training hours. This month we had, I think my monthly total has a one too many number in there. It's supposed to be 198 hours. So for a total of 1,279 hours this year. Our focus this month was rope rescue operations, wildland training. We have to go through annual refresher training. We did simulator training on single-family homes, tools and equipment, forcible entries, our emergency medical training, structure operations for hose operations, and then ventilation operations. Community public outreach. During the month of May, we participated in the National Day of Prayer, Girl Scout tour of the fire station, National Fallen Firefighters Week, worked with our preparedness committee, Little League closing day, obviously Fiesta days, and then our daily interaction with the community. One thing that's not identified there is also during the month of May, we had our fire department open house. It was our second annual, thanks to the Riverside County Sheriff, Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District, Canyon Lake Emergency Preparedness Committee, AMR Ambulance, our Firefighters Association, the City of Canyon Lake. We had a face painter there, a balloon artist. The Clams were gracious enough and cooked lunch for us, and then for the community showing up and showing their support of their local fire department. I talked about this a little earlier, though. Our significant event was on May 16th on Long Point Drive. We had Engine 1, myself, and Engine 94 initially dispatched. Because of the report on conditions and the smoke that was seen, 3 additional engines and a truck were requested. As I stated, off-duty Big Bear Battalion Chief and Councilmember Smith were able to get there, keep the fire under control, and so by the time we got there, it was confined to just the garage. We did overhaul, salvage, and a fire investigation, determined that the cause was electrical in nature, and contacted the Red Cross to assist the 2 occupants of the building. So that completes my report for the month of May, and I'm available for any questions if you have any.
Busy month, Chief.
Any questions from council?
I just want to say thank you very much. Good job, Councilmember Smith.
Yeah.
You're our first original Explorer.
Yeah, done.
Okay.
We'll make sure we get an application next time we're hiring you. Thank you.
The guys were awesome. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. There we are. Okay, moving on to public comments. City Clerk, do we have any public comments on non-agenda items?
Mayor, we have one speaker tonight, Travis Montgomery.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, staff, and citizens. And before you start the clock, why, this is the first time I've attended a council meeting since June 23rd in 2021. So I want to welcome Jennifer Dane and Mark Terry and City Manager Brown and our City Clerk Garcia on my behalf. Steve Graham was here in those days, and it's a familiar face.
Welcome back.
So, thank you. I want to comment on the Save Our City initiative and petition that is being circulated in our city. It's a voter-initiated petition, so it's not city-generated. The proponents are basically saying, this is what we want the city to do. Let me remind you of some of the things that have been done. This is the 7th effort to increase revenue in the city in the past 10 years. The first was the UUT tax in 2014, a voter-approved 5-year tax of 3.95% on utilities, a revenue generator. The second was the voter-approved measure to make the UUT tax permanent, a revenue generator. Third was the establishment by the City Council of an emergency medical services fee, EMS fee, a revenue generator. Fourth, the city budget being voted on tonight increases the EMS fee by over 60%, from $192 to $309 a year, another revenue generator. Fifth, the establishment of our own fire department, a revenue generator by major savings. Sixth, and most recently, the approval by the City Council of an ordinance to allow cannabis sales in the city, another revenue generator. These 6 voter or City Council approved revenue generators combined are estimated to provide about $3.5 million in revenue per year to the city. And now a 7th proposal, a petition initiative, is to add a sales tax of 0.0075% in the city, a sales and use tax, I should say, and a 6 to 8% cannabis tax for the sale of cannabis in the city. The current cannabis operator permit calls for a 15.1% fee to be paid to the city, much more than the 6 to 8% proposed in the initiative. And the 6 to 8% is well below the original 5 bids to open a cannabis store in Canyon Lake. The cannabis tax may actually turn out to be a revenue degenerator. The sales and use tax and the cannabis tax are combined in the same ballot initiative. I question the wisdom of these 2 items being in the same ballot initiative. I might, and I say might, go along with the need for increased sales use tax for the city, but I wouldn't approve a lower revenue generating cannabis tax. I would vote no on the combined taxes and in effect throw the baby out with the bathwater, the baby being the sales and use tax. These 2 taxes are apples and oranges and don't belong together. I don't have the allotted time tonight to address in detail my concerns about the sales use tax and the cannabis tax, but I will have more to say in the future and will gladly share it with you and the community. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
Do we have any comments on consent agenda items? Okay, we're going to move on to committee and council reports. Casey, let's start with you on the end there. Any comments?
Yes. So on Monday, the junior lifeguard program is going to begin the 17th. That's going to run for 2 weeks. We have 40 Canyon Lake Canyon Lake transportees. Not everyone is from Canyon Lake. We are regional partners. We have Wildomar, we have Lake Elsinore, we have some right outside the gate children who are going to hop on the bus in Canyon Lake and head over to Lake Paris State Recreation Area and develop their junior lifeguard skills. And so I wanted to personally thank, again, the city for working with the Clear Foundation to make sure that these children are transported, because it is an amazing program and it absolutely increases the opportunities for outside enrichment to our youth in the summer, and it also provides that extra boost in terms of lake stewardship and safety and sense of community. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Dane?
Just a couple quick things. Number one, thank you to all of the volunteers who helped put flags in yards for Memorial Day. This is our third or fourth year doing this, and I love it every year. And special appreciation to staff, Jessica especially, who helped coordinate this year. I've talked about our higher education coalition. We are still moving forward in full force. We're still looking for additional members. If anybody is interested in joining us, we're taking people from pretty much anywhere in the community who is interested in helping bring ultimately a 4-year university to Southwest Riverside County. Imminently trying to expand Cal State San Marcos in the Temecula campus, and I think I can share the money part. We and I'm sure I've talked about this before, but our goal with this coalition, basically we need about $18 million is the number to get through the first two phases to build out the campus, to build out the whole floor of the building that is already been donated, well, not donated, but allowing Cal State San Marcos to use from MSJC. And that ultimately will bring in baccalaureate programs for healthcare, so for nurses, for business, for software engineers, vocations that are very needed in this valley. And lots of studies I can give you about when people get degrees in the area, they tend to stay in the area, increases property values for everybody. But I want to give a special thank you, and although he's not our designated supervisor, but to Supervisor Washington's office for funding $5.5 million of our goal through additional funds through the county. So that's a very good start, and we've got a lot of things that we're looking at and a lot of different revenue sources that we're looking at for this. But like I said, if anybody is interested in helping with this, we meet once a month. It's a cross-section of everybody in Riverside County. We have hospital executives there, we have other council members, we have board, school board members, water board members, teachers. So anyone in the community who's interested, please reach out to me, and I can talk to you about the committee. But it's a very exciting time, and we're really happy with what's going on.
Awesome. Councilmember Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. I will be brief. In regards to our regional boards, RTA and RCTC, as we are here at council tonight, we did pass our budgets, so we're looking good for both agencies. One of the new things that's coming up, I think RCTC will be the first regional board that's going to be doing this moving forward, is we're going to go to satellite locations for our board meeting. So we're looking at a location out in the desert, one out in French Valley, where Supervisor Washington works out of, and then also at the regular CAC, which is the county building. So I think that's going to be maybe a pathway for RCA, WRCOG, even maybe RTA going down the future. So things are changing on the regional boards. The other thing that I want to mention to this council is we have, as you know, RCTC came and gave a presentation on Measure A, which is that tax that we talked about. It's going to be brought to the entire commission next month. So that will be a big vote for them, and they're going to make that. They've been polling it, so we should get some results on that. I'll make sure to report back. The last thing that I want to discuss is this weekend, and well, actually pretty much the whole last month. If anyone in our community had the opportunity to partake in the events that were taking place in Canyon Lake, if you don't love where you live, get out of here, because it was absolutely incredible just to see everyone come together and just to be there for each other, whether it was raising money, whether it was partaking at the town center where we had the golf cart show, which was incredible, huge turnout. We had 3 events just this weekend, and all of them were full. It was pretty impressive to see how Canyon Lake strong we truly were. But I just want to encourage people to continue to get involved. I appreciate Mr. Montgomery coming here tonight and just being involved in the process. You said something very interesting about, the pathway that the city has taken to try to continue not just to be a city, but to be successful. And it's because of people in Canyon Lake that continue to bring new things forward. So I just want to encourage our residents to continue to keep us in line, but more importantly, to come up with ideas and to let us be as successful as we possibly can. So anyways, that's all I got. Thank you.
Councilmember Terry.
So summer is coming up, and in RCA, we had one item on the agenda. It was closed session. I can't really discuss it. But in regards to RCA, they do have a great summer project for our youth between kindergarten and 8th grade. It's called the 146 Project, and they bill it as a fun way for youth to learn about habitat, conservation, animal, and planet species, and preserving open space in Riverside County. It's called the 146 Project, and it's named after the number of protected species covered by the Multiple Species Habitat Conservation Plan in Western Riverside County. And it will help connect youth with nature and promote the region's conservation goals. What I'm hoping to do is to work with our Business of the Month, our Canyon Lake Library, and see if we can initiate that program and give kids between kindergarten and 8th grade an opportunity to participate in this program. Pretty simple on both sides. They get to learn a little bit about our area, some of our open spaces, some very simple tasks, and RCA will reward them. I also want to keep with that theme, both in business as well as summertime is coming. Coming up on, geez, they should have done a better job with the date. I need you to get a hold of the Canyon Lake Tea Box. Anyone familiar with the Canyon Lake Tea Box? So it is a business in the town center, and they have what is called a TrackMan, which is for golf, and a huge simulator. John and I have been there. And I have played St. Andrews, we've played Wilshire. I mean, courses that I'm 18 over within 4 or 5 holes, but it is a lot of fun. They are doing a great job, and I encourage you to contact them because they are having okay, here it is. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on June 18th through the 20th, July 9th through the 11th, July 23rd through the 25th, and August 6th through the 8th. And you know the Canyon Lake Country Club is also having their golf camp. It's already sold out. This is a great opportunity to get your youth involved. Also on that same theme, and I apologize, hopefully I'm not boring anybody, another business, Cassidy Eden, correct? And also with the Canyon Lake Library is going to have a weekly seminar every Monday throughout the summer for our youth, how money works. I'm 58 years old and I'm thinking about attending. But I think it's a great opportunity for our youth to go on Mondays and learn the importance of what a dollar costs, how to save it, and how to invest it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I had a list here, and I'm crossing them off as the other council people kind of go through it. So it's summertime, and we've seen it on the sheriff's poster or his presentation. If you see something, say something. We all know that the kids in the summer go to the parks. They start to get adventurous and excited. If you think that they're doing something wrong or you hear noises, call 911. 911 is your default call. That's who you would want to call initially. We know that the POA provides a service, but if there's a threat to property or a threat to a person, you dial 911. If the kids are making noise, you could probably call the POA, but if you sense any violence or hostility in their noise, call 911. Let's get them out there. My experiences have been a tennis player, is that the first day of summer, there's 10 people out there and nobody calls, and a week later there's 15, and then by July 4th, there's 200 people out there by the beach drinking, partying, loud noises. And over the years, we found out that once there's 18 people, we make the call, the sheriff, the POA, they get down there, and it doesn't get above 18 people. So please, if you see something, call in, say something. That's what makes us safe. Sometimes I get complaints from residents that the police aren't doing anything, and they observe bad actions. And my response a lot of times, well, did you call them? And they say, well, no, I didn't call them. And if we're not calling and we're not getting them out there, then that's the way it is. We had a bicycle accident this week, kind of in memory of the bicycle accident we had about 5 years ago where the boy got killed. We know the speed limit's 45, 35, but if there's a lot of traffic, if there's a lot of cars parked, sometimes you just need to slow down to a safe speed. My son just got his license. We drive down Continental, a lot of walkers, a lot of cars, and we'll drive down the street and I'll yell, parking lot. And what that tells him is don't drive like you're driving down the street, drive like you're driving through a parking lot, because you got dogs coming out, you got walkers coming out. It's much more like a park street than it is a park. So please, everybody be safe, everybody make those calls, and let's keep it from getting out of control. I just want to second the Southwest Riverside Higher Education Council. Pretty amazing that we were able to get together the, $6.5 million in 6 months or something? It was maybe a year. You guys have been out. I came in 6 months ago. So, the goal of having our children not have to drive an hour and a half to a Cal State is really important. I think it's going to be a long journey, and what really makes these things happen is community support. Get people engaged, get people signing up petitions, sending letters to the congressman. It's going to be a long journey before we have Cal State Southern Riverside, but in the meantime, we can get these nurses courses out here. We can get the computer courses out here. So that's incredibly a big deal, and it's just amazing. Anyway, one more thing. I'm on the Vector board. They found 2 mosquitoes with West Nile-Virus in Riverside and Harupa. Just beware. We need to, the virus is, there's a lot of things you can do to stay safe. One is to spray mosquito repellent on you when you go outside. The other is look for any standing water. If there's standing water, mosquitoes can mate and fly around. Sometimes they usually come in swarms. So look around if there's standing water. If you have a problem, you can call Vector. I think it's on the city site. The Vector isn't going to do really anything if it's on the lake. Fortunately, the lake has a lot of moving water. We don't get a lot of mosquitoes. But that's a drinking water lake, and Vector and EVMWD, probably rightly so, don't want any unusual chemicals going in the water. So that's all I have. Thank the other council for their comments, and we'll move on. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Is there any council member that would like to pull a consent item off the consent agenda?
Yeah, only because Alex is here, number 5. If he didn't show up, I would have pulled it. Sorry, bud.
Okay. We'll pull item 5.
Yep.
Any others? Okay, no comment. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 5?
So moved.
Second. Okay, any comments? Do you have a vote, a roll call vote?
Councilmember Castillo? Aye. Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, so let's pull the resolution forward. We have any comments on that?
Yep, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item number 5, I just wanted to give a shout out to Alex. You know, in Canyon Lake, we've had some issues. It's not just the city of Canyon Lake, but multiple municipalities have issues with trash trucks. And I know we've heard this conversation before, but I just want to give a shout out to Alex and his team. Even on Friday night, whenever I sent that email, 6, 7 o'clock at night, they were still all over it and servicing the truck the next day. They had a hydraulic leak, which happens regularly. But this team has continued to do all they can to protect our newly paved roads here in Canyon Lake. And I just want to give a shout out to your team, Alex. I appreciate that. I know that kind of customer service isn't necessarily fun to do on a Friday night leading into Saturday morning, but I just want to say thank you for continuing to work with us and, you know, taking the requests from our citizens when things like that happen very seriously. So with that, I'll make the motion unless there's other comments.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Can I get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Have a good night, Alex.
Okay, we're going to move into a public hearing. Move into a public hearing on adopting a resolution to establish emergency medical service program fees. Okay, public hearing is now open, and it is 7:38. Presentation by City Manager Brown.
It'll actually be passed to the city attorney, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, Council. What you have before you is the annual consideration of the Emergency Medical Services subscription fee and response fees. This program began in November of 2019. The first fees were established in 2020. The full cost recovery at the time was looking at $1,483 per call for the EMS response fee. So that is a fee charged to any individual who receives emergency medical services in the city of Canyon Lake. And the EMS subscription fee was set at $192 per subscriber. If you are a scriber or a member of a subscriber's household, or their invitee or guest, you would not be charged the EMS response fee if you receive emergency medical services. Same thing if you are a business guest, invitee, or employee of a business subscriber in the city of Canyon Lake. The intent is to regularly evaluate the EMS subscription and the EMS response fees to ensure that the program is adequately recovering its costs. A follow-up study was conducted in 2023. That study concluded that a subscription fee of $247 per year, that was the recommended change there, which would have been an increase in the subscription. And it was recommended that we actually do a reduction in the EMS response fee, and that was the result primarily of cost savings as the city transitioned from CAL FIRE to its own internal department. The fees were reevaluated for 2024. The recommendation was to consider a fee of up to $309 for the subscriptions. That is for full cost recovery. And a change on the EMS response fee to $1,545 per call. One of the differences that you have a city manager and a finance director who could probably get into better than I, is the method of calculation. The city council was extremely conservative in its calculation when the program was originally launched. We only considered the operational costs of the CAL FIRE contract when we were determining that fee. We did not consider the other central service costs that occur at the city. So the legal costs, the HR costs, the financial costs, the administrative costs that go into having a department that provides these services. When we started looking at doing an overall fee study for the entire city, that was one of the recommendations from Willdan, which is our third-party fee consultants. you can have a fire department, but you can have firefighters. They have to exist in a firehouse or a fire station. That fire station costs money to build, to purchase, to maintain. They have to operate on fire engines. Those fire engines were not donated to the city. They were purchased by the city. You need to have HR to process applications and payroll. You need to have a city manager to manage the department. You need to have a city council. You need to have legal. So all of those costs were taken into account for the current year's recommendation. And the city council's original directive was to seek full cost recovery for the emergency medical services program. The $309 per year, according to our fee consultants at Wildan, that would be full cost recovery. So that is the number that has been brought before you today. Happy to answer any questions regarding the program. If you want to go into the specifics of how the fees are calculated, I believe the backup is provided in the staff report. However, we do have professional staff who are able to answer questions about numbers. I'm sure I will get it wrong, but I do know the legal framework that we're operating in. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Any questions from council? Okay, no questions by the council. Moving on, is there any testimony by proponents?
I did have one follow-up comment, if I could, Mayor. I apologize. I did want to note that public notice was given to all subscribers in the city of Canyon Lake with over 90 days and very clear directions. If someone is already a subscriber, they continue to be a subscriber in the program. If someone no longer wants to participate, all they have to do is opt out, and that opt-out is permanent. They're out of the program unless they want back in. I believe that our enrollment has remained relatively steady over the past few years. Just wanted to add that significant notice and public outreach.
Okay, any testimony by proponents then? Testimony by opponents?
Mayor, Mr. Washley would like to speak. I'm not sure if it's proponent or opponent.
Are you a proponent or opponent?
Opponent.
Here's your time.
Joe Weissley. I'm talking about the EMS here, and you're going up 61% from where we were. You cannot say, well, we have inflation. It's nowhere like that. You only went up 6% for the amount you have to pay if you're not in the program and they come to see you. In other words, from $14.80 or whatever you said it was to 15 something, okay? But I just cannot understand. I know it was explained here that we have all this cost. Well, we've got 2.4 or something like that million in the budget for our fire department. But now we're saying, well, we don't have enough money. The fire thing was supposed to save us a lot of money from, what we had before with CAL FIRE. But I think that going up 61% is outrageous, outrageous. Inflation came in today at 3.3. So that's all I want to say. It's almost like, somebody mentioned this at a party, it's almost like the mafia that says, you're going to have to pay us something to protect you there, and if you don't, this other thing's going to happen to you. I just think that it's ridiculous. That's it. Thank you.
So we have a testimony by opponents. You'd like to be that, Travis?
I don't know if it's opponent or proponent, it's a comment.
Come on up and.
Thank you very much. At $309, based on last year's number of residents, which was 4,188 subscribers, it's going to yield a revenue of $1,294,000. Your fire department budget is $2,200,000 something. So we're talking about a revenue generator for the whole fire department of 50% or more just from the EMS. Your people who are assigned to EMS, that's the paramedic, which is about 1/3 of the staffing level at any one time. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me that 50% of the revenue for the department is coming from an EMS fee, 309 times 4,188 subscribers, that generates 50%. And I understand all the overhead and the burdens, and it's a part of him and it's a part of her and it's a part of what you guys do. It's the engines and everything else, but that budget still, this is 50% of it. And as the city attorney said, this is supposed to be cost recovery based on actual cost recovery. 85% of our calls in the city are for EMS. Maybe we shouldn't have a fire department. Maybe what we need is an emergency medical service department, and you charge for the 15% times that there's fire suppression. Because that's what we really have, is an emergency services department that 15% of the time gets involved in fire suppression or something. I say that a little sarcastically, but my big point is the fact that it's 50% of the budget, or very close enough to 50%. This is a comment I wanted to make. Thank you.
Okay, seems like you came under as opponent, but that's okay. We're going to look for a response by proponents. Do we have any responses by proponents? Okay, the public hearing is now closed. It is 7:48.
Mayor, if I could briefly address that comment. I think it's a creative comment, sir. I think that if it was, we analyzed multiple different service delivery models before the city set up the Canyon Lake Fire Department. And looking at a emergency medical only squad or staffing situation was something that was looked at. This is the model that works best throughout the state of California, and it is also the model that ensures that we get automatic aid from our surrounding agencies. So that's 3 to an engine. One of them is a paramedic, sometimes 4. Chiefs give me numbers. And so, would love to always, think about creative ways to, have service delivery, but this is the model that we are required to provide if we want to have that automatic aid that is critical for those large events. Mayor.
Okay. And let's close the public hearing. Excuse me, need glasses. 7:50, can we do that? Okay. All right. Public hearing is now closed. Is there any additional discussion by the city council?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Sure.
This is, some good conversation in regards to the sheer amount that we're looking at. And, when we made the decision to form our own fire department, one of the biggest things that the county asked us to do is to be a professional agency, and the chief knows this very well. And we had to work and spend more money to do so, not to be like some other departments in our county. And the decision to make a fire department, I think, has been, without a doubt, the best decision that we've made, especially in the last going on 3 years now. And I'll say that because here we are tonight, about ready to pass a budget, and we're going to look at roughly around $2.2 million for our entire fire department, and sister cities around us, neighboring cities around us, are going to look at a standalone station anywhere between $2.8 to $3 million. So the savings are there, and I say that because in regards to EMS, our subscription fee would be even higher if we were with CAL FIRE now when we look at our analytics of what it costs to provide what is now 78% of all medical calls in Canyon Lake. And those numbers, are the same stats for all cities right now. They're averaging over 80% medical versus fire calls. So this is the future of what departments are and what they're doing. And it's our job as a council to not just bring a balanced budget, but also to make sure that we're providing the resources needed to make this department as effective and efficient as we possibly can. And, you know, I got to give hats off to the chief because I know he worked really hard on this year and the next year's coming up budget, and things are expensive. And you had a challenge, and it's been a lot of work, and it's tough. And, you know, for this council, when we looked at this the second go-around, this council decided not to increase the EMS fee. And this is the first time that we're doing that since it came up, and that's why the cost is so much more than it was before. If we would have progressed it gradually and taken those, but we tried to be as conservative as we can, and unfortunately inflation and cost of equipment has just killed us. And it's like this throughout all of our different cities in the county. So this is a tough decision that the council had to make. I agree with the decision that we made when this was brought to us the first time. I stand behind this. I stand behind our department. I think they're doing a phenomenal job. I want to make sure that we're providing them the resources because the way that I sleep at night with my 3 girls and wife is I know that we have an incredible department that will respond and have all the resources that they need for that medical call. So that's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments? I have a comment, and that's basically, we try to, you look at inflation as sometimes as a guide for how much revenue we need, and that's, for a stable city and a consistent business, that's pretty normal. I get that. But what we've had is we don't always control our revenue, we don't always control our expenses. And so we had a huge expense come up that was a little unpredictable and something we couldn't control, and that was that we had to buy a fire station. And even if we hadn't owned the fire, had our own fire department, that cost would have, in the county was still here. That 1.6 million still would have fallen on our budget. And so we have to, that $1.6 million hole in our budget is now a problem we have to look to resolve. And the other side of it is that we lost some of the revenue from the, we all voted, what was the name of the tax exactly? UTT, thank you, mind slip. I'm older, so I get to have the victory. We had the UTT tax, and we expected a certain amount of dollars. The citizens all raised their hand, at least 65% of them said, I'm willing to have this fee included so that I can have my fire station. And I think Travis is out there nodding his head, and I'm assuming he says, yeah, I was part of that. We felt it was needed. Well, we lost about, at least, we lost about a third of that right now. So we got increased cost in the building, we lost a whole lot of revenue at the same time, and now we have this hole in service, which is unpredictable, and we now have to adjust for that. And that's my comment. Any other comment? Okay.
You looking for direction, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Mayor, just for the record, I want to be clear that what we're making a motion for is a subscription fee of $309 and a response fee of $1545.
I'll make that very clear. I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
And a second.
Okay, I think we're good, Mayor. Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you all. Let's move on to business items. We're talking about adopting a resolution adopting the budget, appropriating revenue, and establishing the appropriate limit for fiscal year 2024 and 25, and adopt a resolution approving salary and wage schedule for employees of the City of Canyon Lake for fiscal year 2024 and 25. A presentation will be by Director Shea.
Your Honorable Mayor, members of City Council, happy to be here on my 67th birthday. So.
Nice.
Yes, I feel older. You mentioned older, so there may be some slip-ups I'm allowed to. So what we're doing tonight is recommend that you adopting resolution number 2426, approving the budget, appropriating revenue, and establishing the appropriations limit for fiscal year 24-25. Also adopt resolution 2427, approving the salary and wage schedule for the employees of the City of Canyon Lake for fiscal year 24-25. and authorizing the city manager to execute contracts per the budget and municipal code. A couple weeks ago, we presented a balanced budget to the council in a workshop study, and we received a lot of good comments and comeback, but no actual changes. So we did not make any changes to the actual budget other than in the gas tax fund. We forgot to add $50,000 for our public works contractor. So that's the only change. And then I had a couple formula errors in some of the graphs, but those are all fixed. So those are the really only changes. The proposed budget for fiscal year 24-25, I guess I don't need to say that. So estimated revenues for the general fund are $8,421,000, an increase of a little under $894,000 from the prior year. Estimated general fund expenditures are $8,266,000, an increase of $731,000 over the previous fiscal year, and it reflects revenues over expenditures, or a balanced budget, projected about $155,000 for the year. I did list in the staff report the same changes that we had last time, and there are some revenues that went up quite a bit. Property tax, we've been seeing a 4.5% growth. So I went 4% this year. Also went 4% for the motor vehicle, or the VLF swap fee, and the EMS we budgeted the 309 just in case it passed tonight. Increase in revenues due to the rates we're getting. I think going into last year, most of our investments were at 0.3, 0.2, and now we're getting 4, 5, and 5.5%. And then I'm not going to go back through all the changes in the departments. And so any questions on the budget itself?
Any questions from the council? No, no questions.
Okay. And so in the resolution, we include the total cost of the budget, which includes all our funds, our capital project funds, our rental fund, and our special revenue funds. And so total revenues with capital projects is $10,370,000, with reserve balances of $10,372,000 at the end of fiscal year 24-25. Mostly we talk about the general fund, but most of the special revenue funds are pretty self-sustained and are restricted. What the appropriation limit is, it's a limit that based on the amount of proceeds we receive from taxes, how much we can spend. So every year we have to adjust it by inflation in California. And for that year, it was 3.62, and then a population change, and our population decreased by 0.13. So our increase calculation by a little bit, 1.3%. So our new appropriations limit is $7,758,000. We're not near that limit, so that's a good thing. So then we also have the salary and schedules. So you also have a resolution to adopt that. And we did not add any new positions this year. What we did was we adjusted the steps for inflation, and we capped it at 3.5. And I think I used March to March or April to April. It was like 3.7, so that's why we're at 3.5. And then there's 5% between each step. So any questions on the salary schedules? And then I also did a 5-year projection. Well, technically a 6-year projection, because I realized when I was done I did 6 years, but I'm calling it a 5-year. So what I used was the fiscal year 24-25 budget, and then projected it out. And you can see on the front page there, we're only in year 27-28 is where we start to go a little bit negative, and that's 7,000, and then 28-29, 82,000, and then back to 71,000. And these projections do not have the UUT for sewer and water, and there's no cannabis revenue in there because we haven't really started collecting anything that we can measure yet. So any questions on any of the projections?
Councilor Dean, yes, go ahead.
When you do the projections, is it strictly just based on percentages? How do you come up with the projected numbers?
For the budget, which was my base year, I usually use a 5-year average, then knowing anything that changed, like this year we have the debt service. For the salaries, I take the tables and I adjust the tables for the the maximum of 3%, and then assume people get a step increase. So for the salaries, it's what the tables were at 24, 25, and then adjust it each of the 6 years out for that percentage. By about the third year, all the current employees reach top step. For property taxes, I use 4%. For most of the other revenues, I use, like the EMS, I use 309 and then like a 3% inflation. But it's usually a history. Like I always have 5 years of data. So it's based on where we're at, inflation. And so most of the revenues are 2 to 3%. Property taxes was 4%. The salaries were based on the tables, which is our biggest expense. And then the others are just inflation, like 3.5%, 2%. So.
Any other questions? Okay, we saw the 5-year reserve study. We saw one about 6 months ago that wasn't so pretty. I guess we did some adjustments to that one.
Better property taxes coming in a lot higher.
So what you did is you basically looked 6 months ago and had a lower percentage of property tax, and we basically are getting bigger boosts on the property tax side.
We were fairly conservative last year in our property tax revenues and our fire structure fee and our VLF. And so I took the prior 3 years actual, projected those out at 4%, which is what we were growing. And so property taxes are a lot higher. That didn't have the additional EMS in it, I don't think, that one, so.
No, I think it was early.
Yeah.
So I just want to see where the difference came in. But basically, our property taxes came in a little higher than we anticipated in that budget scenario. And we all know 5 years out it could be a million years out, but we try to create this base of 5 years so we can measure ourselves as we go along. I personally am not so optimistic about the 4.4 property taxes staying in line. We have low interest rates. A lot of people are not going to want to sell their houses. They're going to be more reluctant to move. And because of Prop 13, the standard rate for a homeowner who stays is a 2% increase, where when somebody moves and buys a new house, that is reset to property or to market value. So if there is a trend, which we may see, which I think we're likely to see, is that people will tend to stay in their houses because they don't want to leave their 3% loan and move down the street and pay 7% loan on the new house. So I think we're going to see some resistance there, and that may affect our 5-year projections, and that may be not so pretty. I love a 5-year projection. We need, in my mind, we need to do them. And as you say, last year you made a decision based on the history. Well, now we have a new data point, so we adjusted the data points. In the next couple of years will help us with the future projections. And I'm just not so optimistic, but it's okay. I mean, we have to go with what we know. I get that.
We're going to be up 4% this year on property taxes, and I don't think interest rates are going to go any higher. So hopefully they'll come down. But so.
Hopefully they'll come down. I just think we'll see people reluctant to sell their house, so.
Mr. Mayor,
we'll see where it
if you
goes.
don't mind, I got a question.
Sure.
Passing this budget tonight, where are we at with our reserves as far as a percentage?
I didn't calculate the percentage, but based on how I think we're going to end this year, we'll be about 10% higher than we were last year.
So 92%?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm so good. Anyone else?
It's a good thing.
Can I make the motion?
You can make a motion, yes. You made a motion?
I would love to make the motion on this.
Go ahead. Have at
I'll
it.
make the motion that we adopt our budget, right? Is that where we're at? Yeah. Business item 17. All in. Good job.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, seriously, and the team. I appreciate the entire staff on this. Aaron, I know that you had to piggyback and learn this thing pretty darn quickly, but I thought it was a good call doing a special meeting last month on this so you can kind of embrace it and figure it out, so.
Appreciate that, sir.
Yep.
It was nice having an outside look, fresh set of eyes, and
Yeah.
carrying the big pins.
Big difference.
And Councilmember, before the city clerk asks you to clarify, I'll ask you to clarify. That's to
Yep.
adopt the resolution approving the budget, adopt the resolution approving the salary and wage schedule, and authorizing the city manager to execute the contracts per budget and municipal.
All of the above, so moved.
I'll second.
No final comments. We'll go with a roll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Okay. Okay.
Passes 5-0.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. All right, I have to dig into the papers to see where we're at. The budget's always a thick piece of paper, and there's always multiple papers you end up spreading. Joe knows that. You spread across the table. Okay, moving on to business item number 18. Approve authorization allocation for the City Council Chamber renovation project. PowerPoint presentation by City Manager Brown.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. What we want to do is look at this council chamber renovation and make it so that, obviously, it's going to fit well within our ordinance that begins in the next day or so, but also to try to expedite this. I want to be clear before we get into any of this. Prevailing wage will be paid across the board for all of these items. Sometimes the gentleman sitting to the left of me gets worried when you separate some of these projects because it starts to look as if you're separating them to lower the amounts. What we're doing is separating them so that we can better manage the individual portions of it, but keeping with what our requirement is, prevailing wage will be paid across the board. So mine's not matching here, sorry. There we go. So with the repeal and replacement of ordinance 247, the city manager is authorized to negotiate and execute all purchase orders and contracts, given control of each of the needed areas of improvements of the project. So we break this down into construction, destruction, or demo, carpet and flooring, technology, and custom fabrication. In that, the general contractor or the B contractor will take care of all the framing, electrical, plumbing, drywall, finish, and demolition. That will be one portion of the project. We have already reached out to 3 different companies to get bids on that, with the possibility of a few more. Carpet and flooring will consist of carpet tiles and laminate flooring. The carpet tiles will be used for ease of maintenance and replacement if they become soiled or damaged. We're looking at colors that hide stains, but in the event of that spilled Kool-Aid.
Or Dale's coffee dropping.
Coffee, we think we've found a good mix of color that we can blend that coffee right in. But if there is something that happens, grape juice or whatever, we'll be able to just pull that tile up, throw some glue down and replace it, not have to worry about the carpet repairs or broadloom replacement. Additionally, we would be looking at a laminate flooring for the areas that are not carpeted with a long warranty and the ability to take the use. In terms of technology, that'll include the networking, cameras, streaming equipment, presentation equipment, and televisions or monitors. And absolutely, there will be an indication of whether or not somebody has requested to speak, Mayor. The custom cabinetry will consist of fabrication of the dais, the staff desk, and the podium. We're looking at, the podium will probably be something along what you see there, but a little wider with an ADA podium right next to it to make sure that all accommodations are considered. With the overall design now complete, staff's recommendation is to allocate $700,000 towards all phases of the project. The date of the completion will be determined once award of vendors has been finalized. Staff anticipates completion by the end of this calendar year. And at the conclusion of the project, staff will actually bring forward an agenda item for acceptance and closeout. And when we do that, we will be in that new council chambers requesting that closeout. That is all we have for the presentation. I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Sure.
Can you please inform our audience and those who are watching what fund source we're using to pay for this? And
Absolutely.
why that is? And
So this fund source was provided by the ARPA funds. The ARPA funds basically offset what you would have in the general fund, which freed up a one-time or short-time amount of money. Council dedicated that money that was freed up to be able to update the council chambers. So while this would be considered general fund, that money would not be in the general fund had it not been for the ARPA allocation that the city received.
And Mr. City Attorney, that ARPA funding clearly had strict guidelines, and we were only able to use that funds for very specific projects, and this was obviously one of those projects.
Right. I think the initial thought when ARPA came in was to do the upgrade to the city council chamber. You all will recall in the early days of the pandemic, because of the lack of ventilation, the lack of any sort of public safety or public health facilities here, we actually had to exclude the public and go full remote for city council meetings. It was decided that in lieu of going through the many hurdles that the federal government put on those funds, we would still use it for essentially the same purposes. However, we'd use the ARPA to pay for, I believe it was a public safety contract at the time, which was an allowable expense, and use that freed up money, as the city manager said, to progress on the city council chamber renovations. So the original intent was being fulfilled. However, we streamlined the paperwork, I think.
And just one more question, Mr. Mayor. The intent here is obviously through this renovation is to also look at the possibility of utilizing this space down here as well to possibly eventually get us out of the lease that we're currently renting other space. Is that still happening?
That is absolutely the goal. A big part of why we're separating this in, instead of just saying, all right, we're going to take quotes from 3 or 6 general contractors, is this allows us to lower the overall cost, take staff to be the project manager, and the hope is with any additional funds we have, we can turn this area and an area next to us into offices to get out of that lease. So it's about overall reduction of our operating expenses.
And with the increase of purchasing power, it pertains strictly to this project alone, and only we'll be using ARPA funding, obviously. So that's the direction that you're
Correct. It
seeking.
is only for this project, and I should say project grouping. It is only for the project grouping and these individual projects within that council chambers redesign that is on the presentation.
And I'm done after this, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say thank you to Aaron, and more importantly, thank you to the staff. I know, Mike, you've been working your tail off on this, man. And I know it's a big place for us to be where we're at with this, because we've had so many headaches, especially when you look at prevailing wages with the budget that we were giving. I mean, yes, we're a small city, small chamber, the whole 9 yards, but when you look at other cities like Menifee, like Elsinore, who's doing theirs right now as well, it's millions and millions and millions of dollars that are being spent. So the fact that we're going to be able to put this project together with what we're looking at, incredible job, guys. Seriously, absolutely phenomenal work on this. And I know you had some good relationships that you were able to bring in, contractors-wise, to make this thing happen. And of course, a huge shout out to our mayor and mayor pro tem, because I know that they serve on the economic committee that was helping and brainstorming this too. So appreciate you guys.
Any other comments?
I have one question. Can I ask a specific design question?
Absolutely.
Sure.
On the, for the lecterns, why 2 and not just one that can also be ADA compliant? It's not a podium.
So you get into a couple of things. If you do the one that's ADA compliant, it has to raise and lower. So now you're adding parts that can fail. There's not a set guideline. What we'll probably look at as we're going through that is if it just costs way more to do the 2, we'll try to find a way to fit it in. There's going to be some value engineering as we do this, but we don't want it to be in a position where we lose out on any functionality whatsoever to try to combine those 2. Was there anything specifically that you were looking for in that?
No, I'm just wondering if as we're looking at pricing for that, it might be less to just have the one that can also be ADA compliant.
Because there's actually mechanisms now involved that raise and lower that, the cost does, as of right now, does not seem to be that much, because you're talking about wood versus a physical mechanism that's going to raise and lower that.
Okay,
Also, just a quality of life note, it usually takes about 15 to 20 seconds for it to go up and down. And when you have that mechanism, every person adjusts it to their specific height, just adding time to the whole process.
And it will eventually break.
And it will break.
Mr. Mayor, sorry, just because this is the first time that I'm seeing this, the chairs will be like
That's
this.
not real.
Okay.
Because
that's
that
a
is
hard
just
place to sit on the
right.
ground.
Yeah, that's just
I'm
an
kidding.
overall design of what you could look at, but we are looking at kind of a U shape, so that'll prevent council from, when you have a question for one of your peers, you no longer have to do this. So there should be some curvature to it.
Well, is the plan to keep the chairs for the audience movable like in here?
That is correct.
Okay, because that was, for me, when we had this discussion a while ago, that was really important for me to have a room that the community could use and for any purpose, move the chairs around if, for any type of event or anything that goes on, and it looks like that's still going to be able to happen.
Yeah, so the only thing that's going to be static is the dais and then where that, the podium is. So everything else will be mobile, including we'll have some, a staff table over on the side. And then we're going to have a curtain that's about 3/4 or somewhere around there, where we'll close that curtain off, and what's remaining will be a multi-purpose room for whatever purpose we may need.
That's perfect. Do we have an idea of seating capacity yet?
But we do not.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I'm done. I'll shut up now.
Promises. But no, we enjoy your comments, so great. No, we appreciate your comments, just to let you know. We worked on this for a while. The original costs were kind of really amazing. The original costs that we were kind of looking at were a lot of going out for experts to do a lot of what the staff has done. So the staff, instead of hiring engineers, instead of hiring designers, instead of hiring a huge number of outside people at a cost that was unbelievable, the staff stepped up and decided they would take on a large part of the project. We had support from the building department, we had support from Aaron, we had support from the other staff members. So I believe the original cost would have given us very little, and I honestly don't know if we could have moved ahead with it because it was so expensive. So I just got to applaud the work and the planning, and thank you for that.
And I will say, I believe this is my third council chambers redesign, so I've already learned all the mistakes on the first two, so we should be smooth and golden on this one.
Okay. I know no more city council questions. Do the clerk have any comments?
Mayor, we do.
Do we have any comments? Okay.
Travis Montgomery.
I said to you earlier, I hadn't been here since June of 2021, so, I'm kind of doing makeup tonight. But, I had a lot of questions on this in the beginning when I looked at it, and I just really want to congratulate you for a dynamic discussion that you had. And I think if a lot more of the items that came up had the discussion that you had now, and the questions that Councilmember Smith brought out and the answers that came to it, things would go a lot smoother. I was originally going to ask you how many square feet, and that has not been answered. And enough of you have been involved in construction to know that these things all deal on $700,000 divided by square feet, and if it was this room, that's $460 a square foot to remodel this room. Everything. Put that in terms of your houses, that's how you buy a house, and or price your house or something else. But I think the discussion you had was good, especially the part on the resources, where they're coming from, and that this is the best use that can be made of those monies. So I congratulate you on those. I'm not here in opposition, and I would encourage more discussions like this on items that you do, because you'll cut out a lot of, I think, negative thoughts. And I just want to add one thing to what I said earlier. I agree with our fire department. I agree with the model. I was being a little facetious about saying it ought to be an emergency medical services department with a little fire suppression thrown in. I come from a fire family. My dad was the assistant chief of Long Beach. My brother's a retired captain in Orange County, so I understand that model. I just want to try to keep those perspectives in place when we have $1.2 million going to emergency services and the whole budget was 2.4. So, but I think your explanations here are reasonable. Now's not the time to worry about what the chairs look like. Now's not the time to, worry about all. You can do those when it comes. That's the stuff at the end. But the concept looks good, and I would support it. And until I heard all your dialogue, I wouldn't have. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you for your oversight, Travis. We always value your opinion. Anytime you want to have discussions, of course, we're available to discuss the issues with you. Thank you.
I'll make the motion if it's time.
I think we can do that.
Any other, okay.
No other comment cards? We'll move on for motion.
I'll move business item number 18. This is the approval, the authorization, and allocation for the City Council Chamber renovation project.
I second.
Do you need any clarification?
I
Okay.
believe we're good.
Okay, good. A roll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay. We're actually not doing bad on this 14-page agenda, so we're moving along. Okay, item 19, discussion regarding appointment of council members to standing ad hoc committees. Again, city manager, you've been a busy guy tonight. We're going to give you one more.
So this item is just an item to give council the opportunity to look at the current subcommittees. Certainly, they may remain the same. You may make any changes that you wish at this time. This is an item that is giving the floor back to council to make the decisions, direct staff for us to make those changes.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Sir, Councilman Terry, please go ahead.
I so appreciate staff giving me the opportunity to be flexible on how I move forward here. It is greatly recognized and appreciated. Without a doubt, the most difficult month in the 58 years that I have been on this earth. Had it not been for my wife, Karen, my daughter, Rachel, my son, Blake, I would not be sitting here today. And I am thankful for their support. I take full responsibility for the incidents that occurred roughly 1 month ago. I give no excuse. It was me, and I let you down. I have taken a proactive approach almost immediately after to ensure that this never occurs again. To the residents of Canyon Lake, I apologize. You deserve better. To my colleagues, to all of our staff, I did not protect the team. And if you know me, that's my number one rule, protect the team, and I failed you. And for that, I apologize. To my immediate colleagues, I thank you so very much for your support, for being there. And if I could speak on behalf of this council, you may not agree with the decisions that they make or the direction that they take, but I can tell you firsthand that every decision that they make is in the best interest, or their effort is in the best interest of you, the resident. And besides my feelings and disappointment in myself, and my family, I am really disappointed in how I jeopardized the great work that this council has done, the effort that they have put forward, and all the staff that is sitting here today. In politics, one of the things that I truly despise, and it's so very obvious, and we see it on TV every day, is the hypocrite. My actions did not match on that day the words that I have suggested that our residents take. I will not be that hypocrite. And as a result, I move that Casey Castillo, Councilwoman Castillo, replace my seat on the Public Safety Council, Public Safety Committee. Again, I apologize to our residents. I apologize to my colleagues. I apologize to my family. And I will do everything in my power to ensure that this never occurs again. I thank you for your time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mark. Mark, in my mind, is a man of incredible character and incredible compassion for the community. We all make mistakes. Everybody's days has been, every person's day has come or will come or has been in the past. And some people will make a lot of mistakes and they'll never move ahead to correct them. In my heart of hearts, I believe Mark will move ahead and he will make the corrections that are needed so that these things never happen again. And again, one moment in a man's life does not define him. It is the 57 years. And everything I've seen in that time has been amazing. So thank you, Mark.
I believe I have a motion. Do I not?
We have to go with the public comment cards. Do we have any?
Mayor, we do not.
Do we have a second?
Mark Terry, you impress me every day. I accept your suggestion. I'd be honored to continue your good, hard work. But I would ask that in return, you take my spot on the Finance Committee. That's only fair.
That is a fair suggestion. Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Absolutely.
I've had the honor to serve with Mark on our Public Safety Committee for, what, now has it been a year and a half?
Almost 2 years.
Oh my goodness, 2 years. You know, it takes a certain type of man to do what you just did tonight, to not only put this item on the agenda, but be open and honest and share your heart with this community. And that's exactly the dedication that I got to see from you on public safety. I was going to reject this motion until Casey made hers. So with that, I would be all on board with having Casey join me on public safety. It seems fitting, as long as this council's okay with Mark going over to finance, because I think the good work that he can do there is just as important as the good work that he's done the last 2 years on public safety. So I'll second that, Councilwoman Castillo.
Any further comments? Clear understanding of the motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go with the roll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay. The comment here, did we do a date change for our calendar?
Yes, Mayor, it was
Oh, in
approved on the consent
agenda.
calendar
Okay,
tonight.
that's where it was. I was
Yes.
just not wanting to go too quickly over this. So, city manager comments? Do you have any comments?
I do indeed, Mayor, thank you. I just want to talk briefly about sales and use tax and just remind everybody that the city of Canyon Lake is 7.75%. If you see something that is a higher amount than 7.75, you do have a recourse. That recourse is to contact the business where the incorrect rate was changed and request a refund. In the event that that business does not want to acquiesce, if you will, and they kind of stand firm and say, no, this is what the rate is supposed to be, we know it's 7.75. There are some points of confusion, and I want to make sure everybody in the residents, the businesses, council and staff know that sometimes when you're setting up a business, you may not be setting up an IT business. You may not be an IT guru, and you're setting up a POS system that really expects a lot of knowledge from you. And what I found just in talking to some of the businesses was, yeah, this city wasn't listed and Menifee's right next to us, so I chose Menifee. Well, Menifee's 8.75%. You would have to know that if you cannot find Canyon Lake on your POS system, that you need to select unincorporated Riverside County. If you don't know that, how are you going to select those things? So this is not a, we found some businesses doing wrong and we got them. This is an opportunity for us as your staff to educate the businesses, to let them know what is required. And on doing that, I sent a ridiculous amount of information to our staff, Jessica Sanchez, and she turned it into a very consumable and very good-looking product that is available on our website. We've got little pamphlets that can be handed out right now, and they will also be handed out every time you come to get a business license from us. You will get this same little pamphlet letting you know what our sales tax is, and we even give the tax breakdown just because we sometimes want to remind people that 6% goes to the state of California, 1% local jurisdiction, which is Riverside County, 0.25 local transportation fund, 0.50 is Riverside Transportation Commission, which is RCTC. So we get a mere pittance of that sales tax. One of the questions that was asked to me when this was discovered was, is the city getting that extra money? No, the state offers two recourses if you overcollect. You can go through the process to refund all of the people that overpaid, or you can simply give it to the state and all of your accidents are washed away.
Sins are forgiven.
Your sins are forgiven, and you help to close that 60 whatever billion dollar hole in their budget. So we've got a lot of information on this for retailers, for consumers, and then just a lot of overall California Department of Tax and Fee Administration, or CDTFA, information. I believe firmly that it is our job as your staff to educate. This is not something that we regulate. This is regulated by the state, but it really is important that we help our businesses understand not just what their responsibilities are, but how to rectify the situation if they were kind of outside of that. So this has been, from a city side, handled. The individual businesses have been made aware. Two have verified to be corrected. I'll find out tomorrow morning if the other one is. And we should be good, and we will continue with this education plan to prevent those accidents in the future.
Mr. Mayor, before you adjourn, I just want to say thank you to our interim CM on this. Jessica, awesome job. This came to us from a couple residents, literally, 72 hours, 96 hours ago, and the team just went nuts trying to figure this out. Our interim CM actually went business to business to have this conversation. A few of those business owners contacted me and said they couldn't believe, the willingness to help with the issue, because it was literally just not understanding. And that's that being proactive, and that's why we always ask our residents, please reach out to us, reach out to your council, Facebook, text, call, just do it, because then we have a team in place, and I just want to say, awesome job, thank you so much.
I just like to say the tax system is a complicated thing on the sales tax. I'll give you a couple examples. One, I bought a car in another city and they charged me a higher tax. And when I got home, I looked at the bill and I said, the rate where I live is 7.75. They go, no, in Menifee, it's 8.75. And that's what your zip code is. And so I had to go around in a bunch of circles, and I did get my refund. It was a couple $100. I was very happy, so that was good. The other side of the coin is I went down to RCP Pipe because I was doing some landscaping. And if I bought something at the counter and put it in my car, it was 8.75. But if I bought a load of pavers and they shipped it to my house, it was 7.75. I can't tell you what the law is, but I can tell you what they charged me. And when I went to the counter and I said, hey, how comes the difference is, well, if you load it in your car, it's 8.75, and if you have it delivered, it's 7.75. So, keep an eye on your sales tax. It could be a lot of money at some point. But that's about it. We'll go ahead and announce that our next session will be held on July 31st, 2024. And other than that, we will adjourn. So thank you all for attending.
Mayor, we're recessing back into closed.
And we are recessing back to closed session. Thank you.